maybe they've met these Kenitra Tigers on the ladder and they have been struggling. I know Kenitra Tigers have been playing up a lot over the last week, so they are in very, very good practice. Maybe they do feel like the LSD has a better chance, or well, I assume they do since they're leading with it. So uh, it'll be curious to see whether they're right. I just don't see it. I don't see LSD um, beating RMD, but if they hmm, if they can live a long time, like you say, they do have a lot of cooldowns. If they
Ooh,
can live long enough, they can certainly win
interesting.
the dampening game.
Stokanov is going to be running the Aura Mastery bark skin, so he's going to be looking at, I think, to
Oh.
be much more aggressive with his stance if he's running that. Maybe he can also use the Aura Mastery to dispel dots. There's a couple clever ways you can use it. I'm curious to see how he decides to do it. We can see the RMD in stealth. Rain of Frogs coming out from Zeepai. No ribbits today. Not finding anybody. Suchi pulling back, No Lifer pulling back towards the wall as well. They're trying not to get. Zeepai was so close to landing that without even knowing it. Unfortunately, does not find him. Suchi is now moving in. We can see a sap on the Walrix actually. Who are they going to go after here? It's a little bit of a strange target, and Suchi gets pulled out of stealth. And this is terrible for Kenitra Tigers. And No Lifer even gets hexed from stealth. It's not looking very good. They're going to have to try and figure out what they can get done now that their opener has been botched. We see the Shadow Dance come out, but No Lifer's already down to half HP. They need to get some damage here, at least force the Shamanistic Rage. Looks like they're actually going after Walrix, and Walrix is just portaled away. He's doing a good job kiting with this sprint, and now the Iron Bark has connected, and it's looking very good for Trolljagarn.
Yeah, nice kiting by Works, followed up by a good double Shadow Fury. It means that they didn't really have to use any cooldowns. They're doing a bit of damage to Zeepai right now, but a nice Cyclone from Fnobbers is going to make sure Sushi isn't doing any damage. The Heart of the Wild actually forced out from Chaz as well, so really not a great opener from Kenitra Tigers, who only really forced the Iron Bark there. Um, they're doing a bit of damage to Chaz. I don't think the LSD is going to find an easy time winning the game early, as we do see them getting the triple CC. That's going to be the damage onto Warwick's, but there's no CC onto Zeepai, which means he's able to get out that Draenor ratio. He should be able to heal Warwick's as much as he requires. The fact that Fnobber's shifted that deep means there's no follow-up CC either, and again, they don't really force any cooldowns, no trinkets forced, and this means that Trolljagarn can look a little bit offensive. We do see the Dark Soul coming out from Warwick, trying to get some pressure out. The Heart of the Wild is expiring on Chaz. He's down to 30%, he blinks away, but he isn't in a bit of trouble. He's maybe falling a little bit behind, but there's not too much pressure onto his teammates. No Life is clean of dots right now, hopefully doing a good job displaying those agonies. I'm sure that they're min-maxing in these kinds of ways. Akai Suichi's not going to be taking too much damage thanks to that feint. And Kenitra Tigers, even though they have botched a few goes, it doesn't matter too much since they're not under too much threat of dying at this point in the game. But the closer we get to dampening, I feel like the bigger chance Trolljagarn have of actually winning the game. That is their condition to win.
Yeah, we can see that Stokanov got a nice drink as well, so having the presence of mind to maintain his mana and expecting a long game, knowing how to play out the matchup, and Suichi is actually in stealth. I'm curious who he's going to decide to open on. Maybe he's just going to stay in stealth until a Dark Soul gets popped even. I mean, they could play it patiently if they want to. Dampening, you would argue, is in favor of the LSD, but at the same time can also favor the RMD simply because Fnobbers and Zeepai's healing will be less. But Nolifer is receiving a lot of punishment. Zeepai is not really letting this rogue in stealth forever tactic go unpunished, and Stokanov is forced to just spam heal him at the moment, and Suchi is just still in stealth. I don't really know what he's going to try and get done here. It looks like he's going to open onto Zeepai across the map. Now Garrote silencing Walrus, and Walrus does appear to be the primary target as a death from above connects. Walrus down to half HP, but they aren't able to get the polymorph. They have to use the blind instead, and Fnobbers is trying to be greedy. He's sitting through the blind. He knows that Walrus can no longer be stunned, so he's trying to extend his cooldowns as long as possible, but there's still more CC following it up. They have the sap now. They have the clone of the Zeepai. Triple Shadow Fury out from Walrus, so we'll pause it, and the Iron Bark connects. Fnobbers looks like he's looking for a Cyclone, but I believe he got kicked by Suchi, so good kick from Suchi, preventing himself from getting CC'd. Now using the kidney shot instead to develop some pressure onto Walrus, and Walrus sees it coming. He's going to use the Dark Regeneration, which should deal with a lot of this damage. He's still hovering about 50%, but with no CC on Fnobbers, Trolljagarn should be able to recover, and Kenitra Tigers see that. They're going to pull back defensively behind the pillar. It looks like Zeepai, though, aren't going to allow them to reset as he's moving into line of sight, tossing out some Lava Burst, maybe trying to get an Earthquake as well. Walrus just dotting up the Water Elemental, just trying to do as much damage as possible and really keep Kenitra Tigers from resetting.
Unfortunately, the Rov doesn't really do too much from No Lifer there. That means if Fnobbers can shift the next deep, there's no blind available either. They might even get the block on No Lifer here. Nice burst damage coming out from Zeepai, but it's not going to be to too much end. Chaz sitting down right now. That is Stoinkov on the rest of the of Kenitra Tigers for that drink. He gets back up to full mana there. I think they're just kind of playing for dampening, and this is one big difference between Kenitra Tigers and RMD like Reawakened. RMD like Reawakened's a lot more in your face. They'll be playing right now super offensively, trying to play the pressure game, trying to get as much as higher pressure as possible, essentially just trying to get the kill really quickly. But Kenitra Tigers are perfectly content to sit back. They feel like they have a decent chance in dampening, like you say, and we're actually seeing, oh, does he have the Rov in time? He doesn't quite. No Life are using the Ice Block there to get the CC onto Fnobbers, but he used the Rov slightly before, and unfortunately it wasn't quite up in time, so Fnobbers able to blink out of that. A nice phase coming out from Warwick assures that no sheep comes out of that DR Bash, and now it's Chaz who's in trouble. He has the Trinket and an S. They actually use quite a few cooldowns there, and dampening is starting to tick. We do see the Demon's Heart from Warwick. The random sheep onto Fnobbers, though, well played by No Life for seeing that opportunity, but not too much damage coming out. Trolljagarn look like they're quite happy to just sit back. The triple DR sheep unfortunately onto Zeepai, the deep freeze onto Fnobbers. They are trying to get the cross CC. It looks like they're actually swapping up over onto Zeepai. The DR sheep onto Fnobbers, followed up by the Cyclone. Well played. This is the Shamrage. Maybe can they go for it? If they can get Cyclones into the Shamrage, Chaz desperately trying, but unfortunately he gets locked out. Well played. Can he get it anyways? He does get the Cyclone. That's going to be the trinket from Zeepai. If he can reclone it, they can get a lot of pressure here. They force quite a few cooldowns there. The kidney onto Fnobbers means they may even be able to go through. The Shamrage is not available. He's down to 30% HP. The Demon's Heart comes out. Is going to be enough? Just following the CC now. And he has the DR deep freeze. Can they get the sheep? He blocks again to secure that sheep onto Fnobbers. A very offensive face from No Life, but he knows they have a lot of pressure. This Ironbark might just about be enough. The kidney comes out onto Zeepai. There's no follow-up on CC onto Fnobber. They do get the blind now, but he's even sitting through that. So actually, this is really good for Trolljagarn. They force 2 blocks really quickly out of No Lifer, and they don't really even have to use Fnobber's Trinket. This looks so good, and Akai Suichi forced into the cloak as well.
Yeah, a lot of cooldowns used from Kenitra Tigers. They're running a very desperate situation at the moment, and Trolljagarn look to be the aggressors moving forward. They definitely want to be looking to get a kill here shortly, with dampening having kicked in already at 10%. Suchi has constantly been looking for these restells, but this fire elemental is just whacking away at him. He's not able to go into stealth. It was a good fire elemental from Zeepai, but finally its attention has been thwarted. Wait, it's coming back. Suchi's like, no, please. He's trying to get out of line of sight. He really wants this restealth. He's gonna get it, but he gets popped out instantly, and he's forced to go back to the pillar once again, trying to get it. Actually forced to use a vanish. What's he gonna get done with this? Shadow steps in onto Zeepai. Garrote Silence into the full kidney shot. We see a deep freeze. Ring of Frost onto Fnobbers. Walrus gets locked out. Good CC from Kenitra Tigers. And now Walrus, though, it's his turn to try and shut it down. He lands a triple stun. Good fears onto Chaz to try and interrupt any incoming clones. And Zeepai is popping his Ascendants. He's looking to get some work done. And Suichi doesn't have a lot of cooldowns. He's just getting soloed by Zeepai right now. Walrus is trying to support him. Zeepai pushing forward. That Windwalk Totem's going to give them the freedom of movement to go in. Stoinkov now using his Heart of the Wild. And that came up at the perfect moment to save his team.
Yeah, well played by Chaz. Using the Heart of the Wild at the start of the game, so it does come back up around about this time when dampening is starting to stack. But the thing is, they're not really getting much pressure onto Trolljagarn with it, so even though he does use it to stabilize his team and surely top them off here, they have to get pressure with it, because after it runs out, he's going to be doing so much less healing. And I just feel like the fact that Trolljagarn have all their trinkets available, Shamrage available very soon, means that Kenitra Tigers are going to struggle so much to kill them. I can certainly see them trying to get some kills onto Warwick's and dampening. His heals aren't going to do so much. They could definitely try go through some cooldowns like that, but they have to do it soon. We do see the bash onto Zeepai right now. Into the Cyclone. Warwick's is going to be their target of choice, but he does a nice unbound will into the portal, but he actually gets caught anyways. The cheap shot coming out, he doesn't have a trinket available. He's kind of caught here. The blind on Flobber's trinket, this could potentially be the game. The nice Ironbark though probably means he's going to be okay, and suddenly Kenitra Tigers have forced a lot of cooldowns. Warwick's doesn't have any trinkets left, Flobber doesn't have a trinket, and they're just kind of damaging through. The sheep's coming out onto Zeepai, shutting down all the damage from Trolljagarn. Well played by No Lifer, who did use a block there in that offensive push once more. Warwick's is going to be stable for now, but now we do have a situation where Trolljagarn doesn't have too many defensive cooldowns, and maybe this dampening is starting to pay off a little bit for Kenitra Tigers as Akai Suichi does start to drop low a bit.
Yeah, Trolljagarn are going to need to find a way to end this match, because they're getting them low, but they're not able to kill them, and that's the main weakness of LSD, is that it's very hard to finally execute someone and finish them off. You can create a lot of pressure but it's not enough usually sometimes to get a kill. And we see a big setup on the Walrus with this smoke bomb, but Zeepai was able to knock them away, and that knockback might have bought Walrus enough time to recover. Stokanov trying to cover it up with a clone, but Walrus is going to portal away. They're forced to maybe put their attention on the Zeepai, but Zeepai has a lot of cooldowns to deal with it. He's not even going to get dented, really. He's still at 90%. Suchi seems to be committing the Mark for Death, double Abyss potentially here, coming in onto Zeepai. No Lifer with no block, so he's been using those aggressively, and that could be risky for him to be in the open. We see Suchi getting swapped, who instantly has to use that Cloak of Shadows, and now Trolljagarn have found their footing. They're going to go in. Fnobber's pushing in Bear Farm with that full bash onto Stokanov, and maybe Stokanov should have trinketed here. No Lifer's falling really far behind. He doesn't have any ice blocks available, and Stokanov's trying to reconnect, but he goes into the Shadow Fury stun, and Suchi actually has no cloak as well. A lot of targets are vulnerable right now. Zeepai can connect for any amount of time. He might be able to finish them off. He's desperately trying to get in line of sight, just chucking those lava bursts out onto anybody that comes in his face. We see a full gouge over onto Zeepai. He is instantly going to break. However, this is really maybe the last chance for Kenitra Tigers. They land the defreeze, they get the Ring of Frost. Shamanistic Rage is up, but they're going to have to go through it if they want to find victory. We see Walrus shutting down Stokanov for any potential cyclones, and as long as they can stop Fnaubers from getting cyclone, they should be alright. The full blind comes out, and Fnaubers is going to trinket that immediately. I think it's a smart trade for him, but they did get Fnaubers trinket and Shamanistic Rage from Zeepai in that go, which means that there is a kill opportunity in the next kidney shot.
Yep, like you say, Kenitra Tigers are setting up opportunities for themselves, but they need to exploit it soon. Chaz's mana is allowing them to stay alive a long time, though. He's actually really healthy on mana right now, still at 50% thanks to a drink he got a couple of minutes ago. No Life are dropping a bit low. He does have that block in 8 seconds, and as you can see, the Master Off actually coming from Mako Suichi. They know they can get this kill. No Life has blocks going to be available in 3 seconds, so he can guarantee get the CC onto Fnobbers. If he can just see him, a very good play by Fnobbers to get back into stealth. He's now pre-holding Zeepai. They know it's the kill target. Here we go. The pre-iron back from Fnobbers. Very good read from him. Looks like they're going to be okay, but they're swapping up over onto Warwick's. We're going to see the offensive block from No Lifer. They're pushing for this kill here. Warwick's is very low. He does have the heals available, but they won't do much in this much damage. He could go down here. Can they follow up with the Cyclone? The Aura Mastery Cyclone from Chaz means they should surely get the kill. The DR Sap slightly overlap, but it's not going to matter. Warwick's goes down, and that is going to be 1-0 to Kenitra Tigers, actually playing this dampening game so well, and the LSD just couldn't finish them off.
That Aura Mastery Barkskin was game winning, so we didn't really get to see him use it in the earlier parts of the match, and that's because he knows as well for the RMD to kill before dampening is very hard. LSD is very resilient comp, very tanky, so they need dampening as well in some cases, and Stokanov was able to carry the game at the end with that Aura Mastery Barkskin glyph, and Trolljagarn are going to fall 1-0, and now it's got to be like, do they pull out their trump card? Do they pull out Leaksy on the mage, or do they commit to this? Because it's a very long fight, like, and it can be frustrating when you lose in that position where you're like, oh, I survived for so long, we're about to win, and then you suddenly lose, and all of that time you spent so focused to stay in the game has basically been lost. So maybe they should just refresh themselves with a new composition that could be a little bit more bursty, more capable of ending the game faster.
Yeah, this is kind of what we said, right? Like, I mean, they did everything they needed to do. What was dampening, 40% or something at the end there?
Yeah,
and they still
it hit
couldn't
40
win the
right
game.
as it ended, yeah.
I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't play the LE Mage. I feel like it has such a high percentage win rate against RMD, especially after last week.
Yeah, not only that, but like the alternative playing LSD again into RMD, I just even if it didn't have a high win percentage, I'd still think I would prefer it over LSD. Watching that game, I mean, these players, I feel like for the LSD to be able to take out this RMD, they kind of have to catch them off guard, you know, out in the middle of the map, you know. And I don't know, these players just don't seem like the type to be able to be caught off guard, at least not too significantly. They did a great job surviving that game. The RMD doing a great job, you know, running away when they know they don't have the momentum in their favor. So going into game number 2, I feel like we're going to be seeing that Frostmage LE, which is really exciting because I love to watch that comp. It's brand new to me, and I'm sure it's probably pretty brand new to a lot of you guys in chat as well. And it's really cool to see at a really high level in a tournament play, to see how those guys play. And they do, and they play it really well. So, I mean, we're going to find out. These teams are going to be locking in their map choices as well as composition choices. We're going to be hopping into game number 2. Just a reminder, this is the upper bracket series. That means the winner of this series will move on, I believe, to the semifinals. Let me just double check on that. but I believe the winner of the series will. Yep, the winner of the series will be moving on to that semifinal match, and that is such a comfy place to be in, especially moving into day 2.
And it's quite funny actually because obviously since as we're adminning and we know a lot of the top players here, I have them on Real ID, and Afraid Kitty after that defeat for Trolljagarn just types in broadcast, please no, because of course the loser of this does go up against Forever Second Place, and Forever Second Place already got beat down by one LSD. The last thing they want now is for another LSD to just appear in the loser bracket. But I mean, the fact that there's so many great teams in this tournament means such high-rated teams can just show up in the loser bracket. It's so rough. Like you don't just get a free ride if you lose your first
Yeah.
game. You don't just get a free ride to the semi-final if you're a good team. There's basically no free win games in this tournament. Even if you have a slight composition advantage, everyone's made to work for it, and it's just so nice to see.
Such high level competition, man. It's a really cool. EU has been showing us some amazing gameplay, and I'm so stoked about it so far. But I feel like Forever in second place is definitely disadvantaged, running just that one composition. If they were to face another LSD, that's definitely a rough situation to be in. And so I'm sure they're just channeling as much energy as humanly possible into Kenitra Tigers right now to take this series. Wait, yeah, it would be kidding. No, it's actually they're giving all their energy to Trolljagarn to make sure to take this series, so they don't have to face them in that lower bracket. Looks like the next map is going to be Dalaran Sewers for game number 2.
It makes sense. I think if they're going to be playing LSD, um, maybe not so much for LE Mage. I thought maybe like Tiger's Peak would be more safe for that. At the same time, I don't know. It seems to me that it's going to go to dampening either way. Like, if the RMD is going to take a really defensive posture like they were with Suchi just looking for restyles over and over, that they're just so slippery, there's not enough lockdown to hold them in place to finish them off. And if they play it out like that and set up drinks like Stokenau did right at the start of the match, it's going to be hard for them as LSD to actually punch through and finish them off. Outside of killing somebody without blocking or killing somebody without Cloak of Shadowing, I think it's going to be pretty rough. And it seems like No Lifers RMD is very solid. They're not going to let themselves fall to that kind of damage, and I don't think it would be the wise decision to keep playing LSD into it. It seems like you're just whacking your head against a wall, whereas you could play the LE Mage, which has already been proven to work, and it might be just more enjoyable. Like you can go for those deep freeze polys, like try and set up kills with some CC, as well as having the LE's kind of RNG lava burst damage backing you up. So I don't know. I feel like I would be surprised to see the LSD again. Obviously they have confidence in it, but it seems to be such a hard, long fought battle that it could be very fatiguing to try and put yourself through.
Yeah, that's a huge vulnerability. Losing again to an RMD in a dampening match like that could very well put your team on tilt, and I think that's a variable that you need to take into consideration when choosing a team composition. And I think they did just that, as they do lock in Elixir on the Frost Mage, and they bring back out their Elemental Frost Mage Resto Druid composition here in game number 2. And if I was Kenitra Tigers, I'd be a little bit concerned here.
And I was really impressed by Lixi last tournament. He's one of these players that's like he doesn't play much. Him and there's a few other players that they're known as like these AT players. They play they played all expansions. They've been in the game for a long time, but they don't play the game so much right now. And he just came back recently, and he was just so impressive in his first tournament back. He'd only been playing for a few weeks, and he just looks so good. Him and Fnobbers especially, their synergy was just amazing. They were getting the clones and the sheeps. Every time one of them got locked, the other one just started spamming CC. They look so difficult to kill. They were so tanky, and this isn't a comp that you would necessarily expect to be the most tanky, because mages can be quite fragile, elementals can sometimes be quite fragile, and they don't have like the warlock, the shadow fury, or anything like that. So they do have to play it quite well, and of course their offensive gameplay was very good as well. We'll have to see if they can get a nice opener. Kenitra Tigers, as we said, kind of botched their opener last game. Zepai was able to get a nice hex, and they just were able to shut them down quite effectively. If they can get a better opener this game, it can maybe even put them even further ahead. But this Elemental Mage should be a harder composition for them. We do see them come out, but I don't really getting quite close, but they don't really get any CC. No life gets locked on Frost. They're not getting a Cyclone either. I'm not sure if they try and put onto Phenopa there, but I'm not too sure what's happening. But No Life now blocks for his CC. They do get the Deep Sheep, and it looks like Leaksy is their target of choice. He's down to about 50%. He might be forced into the block instantly. It looks like he's trying to kite away, but he's going to have to block surely. And it's block for block at the end of the day. No Life are using his block to get that CC, so a pretty even trade of cooldowns. The Cyclone on Phenopas means they might be able to CC through though. They can get the recycling, they can maybe even just kill here. The Gouge from Akai Suichi, the bomb coming out, the Groat means that he can't get out of it. There's no trinket available, but the Cyclone on that Iron Bark, well played from Chaz, means that Leaksy's still kind of low, and the Elemental Mage isn't really doing anything right now.
Yeah, it was a pretty flashy setup from Suchi, but Fnaubers just shut him down. He was able to blink into the bomb and Iron Bark, and now Kenitra Tigers seem to be on the back foot, having used their very aggressive arsenal already. We see Stokanov actually being targeted. He's already at half HP. He's out of line of sight, though. He should be all right. We see Zipai caught into a stun. I'm curious if they're going to switch their attention. They're not going to. They're going to clone him off of that, set up the damage onto Leaksy, and I think that is the target they should be focusing. He's forced to run away instead of dealing damage, and Fnaubers now actually getting sheeped on his global cooldown, and now that sheep for free might cost him the game. He may need to trinket. Leaksy's is trying to kite a nice defensive hex on Suchi. Is actually buying him a lot of globals. Finally able to be dispelled, but now Stokanov getting polymorph on his global, which means there's going to be a lot of pressure on the No-Lifer. He's forced to run away behind the pillar. Leaksy's in line, almost catching him off guard. I think he got an invisibility off and snuck up on him, and No Lifer is going to have to block. He gets it, and now suddenly Kenitra Tigers are behind. Let's see if Zipai can get anything going. He's got a 20-stack Fulmination. He's got huge burst available, so if Zipai can line this up with some nice CC on a Stokanov, they might be able to take the game. Unfortunately, Stokanov on Polymorph DR, we see No Lifer is, I would imagine, going to be the kill target for Trolljagarn, so No Lifer's trying to play defensively, now blinking out for the attack. Deep Freeze into Ring of Frost, not able to get it. Zipai with a nice Trinket Wind Shear to break it up. And no, getting a free sheep off the Dispel onto Fnaubers, and now Leaksy's in trouble. He's forced to defensively Deep Freeze Suchi, and hopefully that defensive Deep Freeze will allow him to keep his block. If it doesn't, he's going to be significantly behind. We see a full blind on Fnaubers. He's going to trinket, but into a half clone. Good follow-up by Stokanov. Could force the block here. Fnaubers trading up that Iron Bark and Nature's Swiftness so to save him. Now Fnaubers, though, getting a full clone onto Stokanov. No Lifer with no blocks. Can Zipai connect the damage is the question. Seems like Suchi's doing a good job to peel with that kidney shot. Zipai is just unable to get in line of sight. He's still holding on to that 20-stack damage, so let's see if the next Deep Freeze from Leaksy might be able to push No Lifer over the edge. Leaksy's moving in with the blazing speed. Is he going to go for the Deep Freeze? Not just yet. He actually gets cloned up, so that clone is going to slow down their attack here. Now that it gives Kenitra Tigers time to set up an attack of their own. Fnaubers caught in a sheep. Zipai's caught into a clone, and this could be the block out from Leaksy's, and he does not want to have to do it before Cold Snap comes off cooldown. Oh, 33% HP, getting that block off. Fnaubers still getting cloned though, and now the CC just isn't stopping. If Stokanov can keep these clones going, Leaksy could be in trouble. He's looking for another Cyclone, not able to get it. I think Zipai was able to ground it, but he's going to go for the clone onto Leaksy's instead, and Kenitra Tigers are retreating back to the pillar, looking to try and get a reset. No Lifer still with no ice block for another 17 seconds. It could be in trouble if they can push forward, but it seems to be a similar problem to the last game where Zipai just can't get in line of sight to finish them off.
I completely agree, and it looks like both teams are kind of okay right now. I mean, Leaksy does have another block available, No Lifer does very shortly. He actually has it up now, and he's actually the one under a bit of pressure. How to use that snap there. Chaz caught into that Cyclone, maybe they can follow it up with some sheeps. The recycling, can we see a sheep off that from Leaksy? It looks like he's just preferring to tunnel damage into Akai Suichi, who does have that cloak available, but he might have to use it. Drops incredibly low using that cloak of shadows. If they can get some CC onto Chaz, I'd love to see maybe Leaksy pushing for some sheeps, but Chaz is having none of it, and now they're the team to go offensive. The Icy Veins coming out from No Lifer enables him to get that ring. They could maybe get the block from Leaksy here. This will be his last defensive cooldown if they can get it, but he's trying to hold it, and a nice Cyclone from Chaz, an Aura Mastery Cyclone as we've seen time and time again on that NS from Snovers. Maybe they could even purge it. I don't think it'll matter too much, but the fact that they get that block is very significant because it means they have no blocks available, and the smoke bomb is up, so Leaksy has to be very careful. He does have his trinket available. We do see him come out of the block and use it to get that deep sheep onto Chaz, but No Lifer just kiting away. It seems really, really hard for Trolljagarn to actually finish the game. No Lifer playing very carefully. He does have one block available, but he probably wants to save it for his next offensive push, because every time he can block offensive, he can pretty much guarantee he gets the CC onto Fnobbers, and that's their win condition if they can keep getting them. But we do see him dropping quite low. The NS comes out from Chaz. He's down to 50%. He's going to stabilize for now. The Earthquake coming out behind the pillar. Zeepai just doing whatever he can to maybe slow down the team, get as much damage out as possible, but it just looks so rough for Trolljagarn.
Yep, Trolljagarn are on the back foot now with Shadow Dance available. Suchi's going to be looking for blood. He's trying to get out from the box here. Fnobber's running in bear form, trying to pre-shift the deep freeze. Here comes the deep freeze. Here comes the bash onto Zeepai. It's triple CC. Leaksy trinkets out. He goes for the deep freeze. I'm not exactly sure who that ended up landing on. Regardless, Leaksy is completely alone with no ice blocks, and I think Suchi is just going to chop him up like sushi. Here comes the smoke bomb. Fnobbers does get inside of it. It connects to Nature's Swiftness. He actually chooses to pop the bark skin kind of randomly here. I'm not sure if he has the Ore Master glyph or he's trying to mind game his opponents, but he is going to be down his own bark skin, which means he could be a swap target. I mean, at this point, Kenitra Tigers could really kill anything.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I'm a little curious about that as well. Maybe it is a little bit mind games. We actually saw him do that in a previous game, I think, and they ended up swapping to him and dying shortly after. So maybe it is a little bit like that. If so, it's very intelligent. But Kenitra Tigers just seem unrelenting. I don't think they're going to fall for any shenanigans like that. They realize Leaksy has no block for a good minute. He should be their target of choice. They actually have no cooldowns left, Trolljagarn, and Nightlife does have that offensive block. So the game plan for the Kenitra Tigers at this point is to catch Leaksy, try to use the offensive block, get the CC onto Fnobbers, and maybe they can set up out of this cycling. This is a nice cycling from Chaz. They should be looking for it. Fnobbers doing an excellent job of kind of sitting in that bear form, but this is the setup. He's going to block offensive. He's going to get that full Rov. Surely the blind, they unfortunately overlap the blind and the Rov. That's so unfortunate for Kenitra Tigers. Can they kill? Anyways, Leaksy down to 50%. He's spam painting with that Icy Veins. That overlap might have cost them the kill here. It looks like it has. The DR cycling onto Leaksy to try cycling low isn't going to be enough, and now it's actually Chaz taking some pressure. He's into the DR bash. He has to trinket out of that. He could just die here. He's down to 10%. The NS comes out, but he dies anyways. Insane damage coming out from Trolljagarn, actually killing him through every single defensive cooldown, and that's going to tie it up 1-1.
Rest in peace, Stokanov. And like that was it. Zeepai finally got to hit somebody that wasn't on a pillar, and he only touched him for a couple of seconds, and he instantly fell over. So Trolljagarn have found their place.
Healing set, correct me if I'm wrong, both of you guys play a druid. Can you actually use Ironbark into a cyclone? Like, obviously you can't get Ironbark on a cast, but like, can you kind of waste Ironbark into a cyclone?
You can.
But even though Chaz ran in there in that scenario and got that offensive cyclone on the Leaksies, which puts him in that vulnerable position to just getting swapped to and killed, he did actually get an offensive cyclone onto Leaksies, which the Ironbark and Nature Swiftness into, which is pretty big deal. But he just needed to survive.
Yeah, it's just like they had the kill there. We were even calling it like they had no cooldowns, but they made that crucial overlap. Like they overlapped their 2 8-second CCs almost perfectly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think I could have done it better myself. The communication to overlap it that swell must have been.
That's probably the highest eviscerate I've seen.
But yeah.
I think that's the highest eviscerate I've seen in Arena.
What
did he do?
185k.
Oh wow!
Oh my god!
Okay, Suchi, I'm really impressed by this team because in Europe, we've this expansion we've seen sub as inferior to combat, but this season sub actually has enough damage with the improved eye level to make it maybe even stronger than the combat record. I'm not sure about that, but the way these guys play it certainly seems so. And these guys look so confident against the early mage, even though they lost that game because Chaz kind of died through every single cooldown somehow. Yeah. Insane damage coming up from Zeepai, like you said, he connected one time, but they almost had the kill there, and they look quite comfortable until that, I thought.
I think Subtlety is a better hit and run spec, whereas Combat needs to hit, and that's what it's good at, is hitting. It's not so good at the running part. Whereas Subtlety, like, you don't need to be building towards a red buff, so it's like, do I need to be out here to do something? No, I'm going back to the pillar. I'm going to get a re-stealth and then try and burst you down later. So Subtlety is much more hit and run, and it seems to be much better against like the DPS Shaman specs, I think, as long as you're using the run part of the hit and run to your advantage. So I don't know. It's just a different playstyle, and it's cool to see Suchi making it work for himself.
I've done 200k UAs on my luck. Not impressive.
Same. No big deal. Don't even actually have a lock. But here we go. We're going to be going into game number 3 between Trolljagarn and Kenitra Tigers. Kenitra Tigers is still sticking with the sub RMD, and Trolljagarn, they're going to be going with the Frost Mage Elemental Shaman Wrestler Druid, which I think is the right move. I mean, it looked like a much better game than with the LSD, and of course they won it, so there's always that. But now it's no longer their map choice. We have switched from Dalaran Sewers to Kenitra Tigers' choice, Trolljagarn Arena, a much more wide open map. Is this... And like you said, we do have a sub-rogue for Kenitra Tiger, so there's a lot of room and opportunity for him to run and reset on a big, large map like this. So let's see if they can use that to their advantage going into game number 3 here against this new composition, Frost Mage Elemental Shaman Wrestler Druid.
I mean, Kenitra Tigers looked like they were in a very good place, but Trolljagarn kind of just turtled up, and that overlap of Blind and Ring of Frost ultimately, I think, cost them the game. So Kenitra Tigers are going to polish up their play, I would imagine, here in this third match. Suchi moving forward in stealth. They don't want to get popped out randomly. It seems like their openers have been, fairly actually on the weak side in this series. So I'd really like to see a strong opener from Kenitra Tigers.
Yep, I agree. I mean, their last 2 openers haven't been fantastic, although I think last opener they did get the block from Leaksy, but it cost them their own block, so it was kind of even. It was certainly a lot better than the first game, and I don't know if maybe if they can just get the sap onto Fnobbers, they can get a clean opener without having to commit any large cooldowns like that. But again, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to. The deep comes out. Is he going to block? He doesn't block for the CC, so there's not going to be any follow-up. A nice shear from Zeepai means that there's no rough to follow that up. Can they get the blind on Fnobbers? I feel like they have to get something here to make sure they get that block.
What?
They're trying to do with damage, and they kill him. They didn't even CC Fnobbers. The Iron Bar coming out just a little bit too late, I think, and he just... Yep.
Oh my gosh. Can someone please get us an odd shot on that? What the heck just happened? I actually didn't even get to see what happened. 126k eviscerate coming out from Suchi there at the very end. And that'll do it. Kenitra Tigers is just going to nab a quick game here on Trolljagarn Arena and move forward in this this bracket. Now, this is the upper bracket, so both these teams do have a second chance to lose, but both of them want to get to that semifinals. And all of a sudden, Kenitra Tigers are just one game away, one win away from making it to the semifinals.
3 out of 4 of Kenitra Tigers win this tournament have been in the opener. 3 out of 4 times now. They did that twice against Reawakened, and now they've done it once against Trolljagarn. So they're taking out these huge teams with this insane burst coming out from the sub-rogues DFA especially, but I'm sure they can get a lifer. It's
Alright, I got a
just
replay.
raw damage.
I got a replay, dude.
Does so much damage.
I got a replay. I'm looking at a replay. So Leaksy's at full HP, full HP, full HP, full HP, goes into a silence and a stun, 80%, 50, dead.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, just a reminder, guys, our regular replays aren't working, but Super Tees is providing us a replay, which is amazing. Wow, it's a really high quality replay, too.
This is an odd shot replay.
Oh my gosh.
This wasn't even my replay. I just...
Jumps from like 60 to 10% in a global.
Shoutouts to Sup LOLXX with the odd shot. Providing those important replays.
Doing God's work, man. GG's, well played. But yeah, we're gonna be jumping back into our replays after this tournament, guys. Thank you for being patient with us. Obviously, our production's a little bit down because we're not here. Our internet's not working, but we do have Super T's carrying GCD on his shoulders and streaming it for us. So shout outs to him. But that was insane. The amount of damage that went into that Frost Mage. I don't even blame him for not blocking. I feel like I'm V-Hell in the down goes Venruki moment, but like for real. Like, how do you anticipate that? Like, here we go. We're going to be going into Ruins of Lordaeron for next.
They didn't even CC the rest of Druid. Like, there's no way you want to block in a situation like that when your healer's out of CC. Like, when you're at this level, you're so aware of what CC your healer's put into. And you base your decisions. I mean, of course, you base it on the communication as well. I'm sure none of them said in Skype, "You're dead here," because no one really expects that. But you just don't want to block in a situation like that. And it's so unfortunate because they I think they chose the wrong comp in game 1, so they lost that game. Game 2, they won a really close game, and they worked hard and they earned their victory. And then game 3 is kind of another throwaway game, so they're up against it now, and potentially a matchup I think they can win, and they've shown they can win it time and time again. But Kenitra Tigers are just looking so strong, and I think they're going to struggle really hard to get these next 2 games. Although I'm sure they can do it if they just play perfectly accurately.
Runes of Lordaeron, I think, is a smart pick. So they've noticed that the pillar is the enemy of the Ellie Shaman. So let's pick a map with only one pillar. And I think it's smart for Trolljagarn. At the same time, maybe Kenitra Tigers are going to make a swap to Fnobbers. You can kill a Resto Druid fairly easily, I think, with the Shadow Dance if you catch him out of bear form. So let's see if they decide to mix things up. Looks like Stokanov's getting a clone onto Leaksy, and they're opening onto Zeepies. This is already a change for Kenitra Tigers. Full kidney shot now over onto Zeepie. No life for moving in. Oh, Fnobbers Shadow melts right before the deep freeze, avoiding the crowd control entirely, and now he's able to pre-Ironbark Leaksy. Really well done from Fnobbers early on in this match, and now a double Ring of Frost isolating No Lifer. A lot of burst following it up. He's forced a block already, and Trolljagarn have completely flipped this game on its head.
Yeah, really nice opener from Trolljagarn. Leaksy MVP with that Rov, and then everyone was there to follow it up. Fnobbers was able to get the Cyclone onto Chaz and the capstun from Zeepai. Perfectly, the cross EC just executed really nicely by Trolljagarn. Of course, they did manage to hold their defensive cooldowns thanks to Fnobbers as well, so their whole team really stepping up here in game 4. They realized that they will go down to the loser bracket if they lose this game. The deep freeze is unfortunately shaped by Chaz. I don't think Rov is available. He's in the earthquake anyway, so it would break. That should mean they're able to hold the block on No Life, but the NS comes out and the bomb actually comes out. They're trying to turn it onto Leaksy. They do force that ice block before the sheep even lands onto Fnobbers. They can maybe CC through this, I feel like, if they can get the resheeps and then get the Cyclone. They do have that Aura Mastery Glyph, and he does do the Cyclone slightly early. Leaksy comes out of his block. He's down to 40%. Can he get the Invis? It doesn't look like he can. He's down to 30% of the DR clone, but I guess he must have got it because he's just not taking damage. So well played by Leaksy. Good situational awareness to realize Sushi can stop him from getting that there, and he's going to use it to go offensive here. He does get the deep onto Chaz, but the Rov landing does force the second block onto No Lifer, and actually Kenitra Tigers are up against it a little bit. They do have trinkets available, but No Lifer has no blocks. They've only really forced one block from Leaksy as well, so they are behind for sure.
Yeah, Stokanov getting polymorphed on his trinket, but Suchi goes for the blind play, and Fnobber sees it coming. He's going to trinket an Ironbark immediately, but even this Ironbark is still getting cut through. Zeepai was forced to use his gift of the Naru to heal through it. Now Leaksey's getting cloned up. I like that clone from Stokanov, just pausing the damage. Looks like they're going to set up out of it, and this setup could easily be the game. They connect the Ring of Frost. If Suchi just can hit Leaksey, he's surely going to kill him. Leaksey's doing a good job kiting so far, rooting up Suchi, trying to get out of line of sight, but Stokanov follows up with a clone. Zeepai's caught in a polymorph, and Leaksey's just getting bursted. His block barely coming out for him to save himself. We see a defensive hex on No Life. They're switching the attention to Suchi. He's down at 26%. He has to get Ironbark by Stokanov. But he cloned the NS. Fnobbers cloned the NS and immuned the heal. And now Stokanov gets put into the bash. Fnobbers rotates the clone. And Snoochie's surely going to go down. He's at 4% HP and is going to fall. Great play from Fnobbers at the final moments of that match. Getting that clone on the NS and then switching it over. Clutch play from Fnobbers overall in this match. And they're going to tie the series 2-2.
Wow, man. I cannot believe that. That was a great play for Trolljagarn, and they're going to be going and moving forward into the final game. It's tied 2-2. That's actually insane. And here we go. We're going to be going into the final game here. The winner of this next map will be moving on to the semifinals tomorrow. And I don't know, having a night to sleep on everything that happened, it sure feels really good to know that you did not drop a single series in day one of a tournament going into day two. So a lot is on the line here, and the loser of this is going to have to drop down to face a very strong team, forever second place, that we saw Ville, as well as Linaway and Fried Kidde. And neither one of these teams probably want to go down into the lower bracket and potentially be eliminated and have to fight their way back into that finals. So, Grand Arena, Dalaran, Sewers, Tolvaron, Ruins have been played so far.
Blades is the only one?
No, I think there's two.
Tigers as well, right?
Blades and Tigers. No,
but
yeah, correct.
I love how back and forth these games are, because so like Supertease was saying, the block barely came back for Leaksy, and he blocked on like 5%, and then literally 30 seconds later, they won the game. Like both these teams are going from defensive play to offensive play to defensive play. It's such a back and forth game. That's the nature of these kind of mage mirrors that every time deep freeze is used by one team and they try set up, the other team has to work hard to stop it. And if they use their breaks correctly, of course they can rotate through cooldowns and like it's so fast paced, and you have to play so accurately to both make sure you get your own CC and also stop the other teams. So you're swapping between offensive and defensive gameplay so quickly. And Fnobbers especially played that so well because he just came back from healing Lixie up out of that setup, and then he has the offensive awareness to see Suichi's dropping low. He gets the Iron Buck, he clones the NS. Like I don't know. It was so
Oh, man.
important plays by Fnobbers. They could have easily lost that game if they didn't get the kill there.
It's one thing to see plays like that, you know, every now and then, but it's another thing to see a play like that in a tournament scenario. It has to feel so good to land a clone like that in a tournament. Like, he NS'd into my clone, he NS'd into my clone!
I'm sure he's
It's like,
screaming it in Skype.
yeah. It's probably, he's so happy right now. I would be too, man. That was a really impressive play. And in front of 5,000 people, feels good, man. But we're going to be going into Tiger's Peak for match point between these two teams. It's Trolljagarn versus Kenitra Tigers in round 2 of the upper bracket. And I don't know, man. Like this Frost Mage Elemental Shaman Resto Druid composition, it's a hell of fun to watch. I mean, like, if anyone, doesn't matter what class you are, if you're out in the open and you have Zeepai and Leeksies in your line of sight, you got to be careful.
Yeah, and I love that these guys are kind of making a name for themselves with this comp. I mean, of course, these players have been around a long time, and especially people in the European scene will be more than aware of Zeepai, Leeksy, Fnobbers. They're all top players, but they're the only ones that we've really seen make this comp work. Last week, after they kind of did so well in the tournaments, this comp, I was maybe expecting more teams to consider swapping over to it, but we haven't seen anyone else, even in the qualified, attempt this comp even, and these guys are just playing it so accurately. They're 2-2 right now with one of the best RMDs in Europe, and this RMDs look so strong today, especially running that subtlety spec, which I think even has a slight edge over the combat spec in the matchup perhaps, and Trolljagarn are still holding their own very convincingly 2-1 up playing this LE Mage comp. Of course, they did drop that first game as the LSD, but this last game is going to be very, very close. I feel like, again, both teams are going to be trying to exchange those cooldowns, whichever one gets ahead. It could also come down quite a lot to whether Kenitra Tigers do get this nice opener, but a nice Nova from Leeksy assures that will not happen. They've been on the ball stopping these openers, so much AoE available for Trolljagarn, makes it so hard for Kenitra Tigers to push in. We actually see the evasion out for Makae Suichi, maybe trying to preemptively evasion a bash. That won't be available for him later on. As we do see the insta go onto No Lifer, he blocks offensive and defensive at the same time to get that Rov onto Fnobbers. They're going to turn it onto Leeksy. This is going to be a block for a block, surely. And Zeepai actually getting caught into that Rov, the sheep path taking him into it. I'm not sure if that's fortunate or unfortunate for him. The NS and the Ironbark able to land between the blind and the Rov, but that is going to be trinketed anyway by Fnobbers. Leeksy's going to be fine for now. I think he actually held onto his ice block there.
Yeah, he did, and Fnobbers was able to trade his trinket instead. Fnobbers looking for a clone onto Suchi. I wonder if he's going to maybe go for a bash on him out of it. It doesn't look like they're going to. A full clone now over onto Stokanov, and Fnobbers is just going crazy with the clones. No Lifer's in trouble. He's going to have to use his final ice block, and it is not looking good for Kenitra Tigers. If they can keep this pressure, they're going to easily take this game. No Lifer's still down at half HP. Stokanov trying to look for a Cyclone, but he's very afraid of being interrupted. Now caught into the deep freeze. They're switching their attention to Suchi, who is down below half HP. He does have Cloak of Shadows to negate all this magic damage. He might need to trade it. He's caught into a bash. He trinkets right away. We see Zeepai getting polymorphed up by No Lifer. He's trying to pause the damage, give Stokanov more breathing room to heal his team back up. Now the lava bursts are flying over at No Lifer. I'm curious to see who pulls the trigger first. It looks like Suchi will with his Shadow Dance. We road silence on the Zeepai into the kidney shot. They're swapping over to the Elemental Shaman, trying to kill him in the smoke bomb, but he has Shamanistic Rage up. Surely he won't go down through this. A lot of damage is following up. He's going to use the gift of the Naru to heal himself. He will recover, and now after recovering, they need to bring their aggression forward onto No Lifer, who has no more ice blocks to deflect any attacks. And here comes the Frozen Orb. I think No Lifer could be in trouble. He's trying to last out. He's pulling very far away with Stokanov, and No Lifer is very good at running in all of these matches. Whenever he doesn't have cooldowns, he positions himself very well.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's one thing that I really like about Kenitra's Tigers gameplay is that They're very good at identifying when they're not really able to do much, and they do just reset. That's another advantage of the sub, as we see Akatsuchi dropping low in that bash. They could actually potentially got a kill there, but not quite enough damage coming out. No Lifer was free, of course, so he could heal if he needed to. The Hex coming out onto No Lifer DR. Akatsuchi getting topped off. This is kind of a slow point in the game, but we can expect to see Trolljagarn under some pressure soon. I want to see Kenitra Tigers pushing for their setup, but I think they're a little bit scared right now. They have no trinkets on the Rogue or the Resto Druid, so a kill could potentially go on to Akatsuchi again. I can understand why they're playing a little bit carefully right now. No blocks on No Life either. Like you said, they're just kind of sitting back when they don't have cooldowns, maybe letting them reset a little bit. Trolljagarn still have that trinket on Fnobbers, the Sham Rage, and 2 blocks, so they do have the cooldowns to answer any offensive push from Kenitra Tigers. Maybe they should be the ones pushing in here, and it does look like that's what they're going to be doing. The orb comes out from Leaksy, but we do see No Lifer and Chaz just kiting away. And they're actually going to swap it onto Chaz. They catch him in the deep freeze, lots of damage coming out. He does get the preemptive bear form. He doesn't even have to skin that though. Good CC onto the DPS means they might be able to chase him, and actually the blink coming out from Leaksy, but a nice cyclone from Chaz identifying Leaksy doesn't have the CS up for a good 5 seconds, should shut down this offensive push.
Yep, Suchi though now caught in the open. Maybe they could turn their attention to him. Doesn't look like they can. He's retreating back. Fnober's caught into a deep freeze. Kenitra Tigers pull the trigger. They're going after Leaksy. He does have both blocks remaining. Surely he's going to have to trade one for the Shadow Dance. He actually cold snaps before blocking. Did he get locked on Frost? I'm curious if maybe that was a misplay or if he ended up getting locked. He must have been terrified, but now suddenly Leaksy has no more blocks remaining and No Lifer is going to have one.
Yeah, I'm a little curious about that play as well. He must have got locked on Frost. I can't think of any other reason why he would have done it. He wasn't even that low HP when he did use the block, so that's actually a really huge thing for Kenitra Tigers, because Trolljagarn doesn't have any blocks left, and they're going to know that because they will have identified that Leaksy got some heal before he went into the block, and both his partners were CC'd, so they now know that Trolljagarn have no blocks. That might be a cue for them to start playing offensive. They do have all their trinkets up, and No Lifer does have that block available when he chooses to snap for it, so this is a good position for Kenitra Tigers. Fnobbers, of course, does have that trinket available, so they do have an answer to an offensive push from Kenitra Tigers, but we could certainly see as dampening starts to kick in, the deep freeze onto Fnobbers. Maybe if they can land a sheep or a rov and blind the trinket, they could get a kill into Leaksy. Leaksy doesn't have a block for an entire 2 minutes. They should be pushing, but they're just kind of sitting back still. I mean, I can understand that they're a little scared since this is the last well, it is the last game of the series. They could get knocked out here into the lower bracket, but they need to make these offensive pushes, and again, I'm not really sure what happened there, but they didn't get anything done.
Yeah, Stucci actually got cloned on his Shadow Dance, and the preemptive Iron Bark from Fnobbers denied any damage from No Lifer, and Trolljagarn are going to survive a pretty much would have been guaranteed lethal attack from Kenitra Tigers. Kenitra Tigers are trying to make something happen here on Elixir, but they don't have any damage for it. They're going to have to clone him up instead. This game going to be going on for a little bit longer. They still have a kill window on Leaksy right now, so curious to see if they can exploit that. As we've been noticing, both of the teams are playing overly defensive. It's their final chance. They will be eliminated if they lose here. Here comes the setup out from Kenitra Tigers. They go for the deep freeze. Will they get the Ring of Frost? No, he does get interrupted by Zeepai. Good shutdown from Zeepai, interrupting that crowd control and allowing Fnobbers to freely heal Leaksy. Now rotating the pressure on a No Lifer. He's going to cold snap, get a boost of health. He might need to trade out the block as well. Stokanov is desperately trying to pick him back up, but Zeepai is just relentless. Lava Burst after Lava Burst, chunking him down, tearing him apart. We see No Lifer forced to defensively polymorph now, but he does get interrupted on. He's still just taking so much punishment. He blinks away behind the pillar, and Stokanov blinks immediately after him to try and pick him up. Now Suchi is kind of left behind. He gets cloned up in center field. I wonder if they're going to set up a bash out of this clone. They could easily get his trinket. They are going to set up the bash. They're bursting him down, and S comes out from Stokanov and the trinket as well from Suchi, so that could open up a kill window for Trolljagarn. Seems like they're still just hitting Suchi, trying to exploit the melee range. We see Shadow Dance coming out, though. Elixir really doesn't have anything to survive, but No Lifer doesn't get the sheep. Fnobbers needs to try and deflect this. He's going to use the Iron Bark to try and save Leaksy. It seems like Suchi's just going to try and go through it. I don't think they have enough damage, and Trolljagarn once again survived the setup that should have otherwise been Leaksy's dead. Now we see Stokanov caught into a polymorph. Can they rotate the pressure back onto Suchi? He does have Cloak of Shadows available. He might need to trade it. He's very far from the pillar. He decides to trade it out. He doesn't want to risk anything here for his team. Kenitra Tigers retreating to the pillar, trying to figure out what their next setup is, because Leaksy's going to have another block.
Yeah, and Trolljagarn have done an excellent job. They haven't actually had to use a single defensive cooldown since that snap block came out, and that was over 3 minutes ago. He now has a block available, of course, and he might even try to get 2 blocks available. Not holding onto that snap right now, Leaksy, if he can just wait 2 minutes before trying to use his next block. As we do see, they're going offensive onto Chaz. The Earthquake's done on the Trinket. They do force that Trinket out there. Of course, Akai Suichi doesn't have his Trinket either. They can definitely set up a kill onto the Rogue or the Resto Druid at this point. Nolifer does have 1 block available, but he may well use it offensively to try generate something here. They haven't got a single cooldown from Trolljagarn in a good 3-4 minutes now. Kenitra Tigers really need to work out what's going on because they don't have that much time left. Dampening's starting to stagger. Zipai is doing a lot of damage. Chaz's mana is dropping a little bit lower, and they can definitely set up onto Kenitra Tigers for the kill. And here it comes, maybe the Iron Bark preemptively from Chaz, but is it going to be enough? He's so low. The cloak isn't available for 20 seconds. It looks like he's going to be okay. Excellent job by Nolifer to stop the sheep. If the sheep lands anyways, a vanish from Akai Suichi now should be enough to keep him alive for now. They're going to use this to go offensively, actually. Fnob into the kidney, Leaksy put into the Grove. He's in so much trouble. He does have to use that snap now, so he only has 1 block available for the next 3 minutes. The Trinket coming out from Fnob as well, but at the same time, they forced Nolifer into that block with the CC on Chaz. They're following it up with the Cyclones, and this is getting so close. There's no cooldowns really left on Kenitra Tigers, but there's only 1 block left for Trolljagarn.
Yeah, Suchi used an evasion there, so he won't have that for the bash. And it seems like Fnobbers is constantly setting up these Cyclone bashes, and it works really well. Like another Cyclone on Suchi, does Fnobbers have a bash? I don't think he does just yet, so he might just look for a triple clone, cloning up Suchi again, looking to try and lock him down. I think he might have a bash. There's the full bash. This could easily be Suchi's life. He's not trinketing. His feint has now faded, but luckily Leaksy's got cloned up at the same time, and Zipai was unable to solo him. We see Fnobbers, though, getting sheeped for free, I believe, and this could be detrimental for Leaksy. A full clone over onto Zipai, a 3v1 situation, a defensive deep freeze used on Asuchi, but it was already DR'd from the bash, and now Leaksy's in trouble. He doesn't have anything to go offensive, and he's forced to block, but overlapped with the Iron Bark NS, and Trolljagarn are extremely behind right now, and Kenitra Tigers have somehow pulled this back with their hit and run targets, or hit and run tactics, currently in the run position right now, trying to get behind the pillar, but the next setup could easily be the game. If Kenitra Tigers execute this well, even Nolifer maybe block offensively to get the CC, they could easily end this. This Earthquake is kind of just cheekily stunning everybody much more often than normal, actually, right now. But we see the setup. Cheap shot, deep freeze. Nolifer surely is going to block to get this. If they get it, they're going to win the game. Into the half bash. Tokanov goes for the Aura Mastery Cyclone, but he doesn't get it just yet. Leaksy's still in a lot of trouble. Surely they're going to kill him. The smoke bomb gets dropped, and that's going to be it. Kenitra Tigers drag this game out to the fullest potential and finish off Trolljagarn.
Yeah, that was... it was a little curious, that block from Leaksy. I just... Maybe there was a miscommunication, maybe there was a few issues there that led to that overlap, and that did cost them the game in the end, but it was such a closely fought game, and both teams were playing quite accurately, I thought, up till that point. Trolljagarn looked like they were ahead for so long, but it's this issue we've come back to time and time again. You can play this Elemental Mage, you can play this LSD, they look great on paper, they have a lot of burst potential, they have a lot of CDs to survive, they have a lot of stops for CC, but they don't have an execute, and Kenitra Tigers just exploited that by just kiting away. Even when they were low on cooldowns, it's just so hard for Trolljagarn to push in for that kill, and eventually they're going to win. They are playing RMD after all. They definitely have the setup potential, especially in dampening, to get those kills.
That was a very exciting end of that series, though, for sure. A crazy